Hi guys, welcome to Coturnix Corner. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the Borotto Real 49 Plus Incubator. This is an Italian-made incubator. It is a circulated air desktop model, and this unit was sent to me by Premier One Supplies. I think it took 3 or 4 days for me to receive it, and it was shipped FedEx, I believe. But regardless, it arrived in very good shape, no damage whatsoever to the box. And the incubator was packaged in such a fashion that even if the box was damaged a little bit, I don't think it would have hurt the incubator whatsoever. The incubator consists of 2 main components, your upper and lower units. They also sent out a Sirio Humidity Pump, which is also made by Borotto, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later on in this video. And they also included a couple manuals, one for the incubator and one for the humidity pump. Now on the Borotto incubators, they come in several different configurations. You have the Real 24, the Real 49, and the Real 49 Plus, which is what this model is. And they also have automatic and semi-automatic incubators. So you can check out all this stuff on Borotto's website. I think it's borotto.com. Or you can go to premieronesupplies.com, and they've got full description of all the incubators there. So anyhow, the incubator consists of 2 main components. You've got an upper and a lower unit. The upper unit has the digital temperature control on it, and it's adjustable from 86 degrees Fahrenheit up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And the lower unit has the egg turner motor, which is mounted on the outside of the housing, which I really like, because placing an egg turner motor inside an incubator is going to subject it to, 1, the heat of the incubator, but 2, and more importantly, the humidity inside the incubator. So this keeps it outside, keeps it a little bit cooler, keeps it from being in that humid environment, and I really like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each one of these components. We'll break them down, tell you what's in each one of them, and then we'll go into the humidity pump. And I also did a test with it. We did a hatch on it. I'll let you know how that went. Okay, let's start out with the upper unit. The top unit, like I said earlier, consists of the digital temperature controller on the front. It also has 2 large viewing windows, which are large enough to where you can view pretty much the entire inside of the incubator. You can see all 4 corners. The upper unit also has the circulation fan and the heating element mounted on the top, and they are also protected by this plastic guard, or this plastic grate, which is also going to keep your chicks from inadvertently getting up into the fan or the heating element. So that's really nice. Okay, and the lower unit consists of an externally mounted egg turner motor, and on each side of that are your 2 water fill ports for humidity. Inside is your egg turner, which is kind of a unique design as far as egg turners go. It is driven by a looks like 1/4 inch by 1 inch long piece of flat steel stock that comes out of the motor and slides into a slot here on the egg turner itself. The egg rails are a unique design. They use what's known as a cloverleaf design. Basically, you can set any size egg in these rails, whether it's chicken egg, duck egg, turkey eggs, or goose eggs, and of course, quail eggs. Borotto says that you can fit 49 larger eggs in here, or 196 quail eggs. So I was pretty impressed with that. The egg turner itself is going to save you a lot of money, especially if you're hatching out multiple different species of birds, whether it's chicken or ducks and whatnot. You don't have to buy rails to fit those size eggs. You can use this one rail for any size egg. So that's pretty impressive. I like that. Underneath that is your hatching grate. This basically just slides in the bottom of the incubator, and you set your eggs on here when you go into lockdown. What I do is I line that grate with a drawer liner material, It just helps to give the chicks a little bit better footing when they hatch out, and also it dampens any vibration, you know, should you bump the unit or whatever. Below that are your water ports. I don't know how well you can see it. Up front here are your two water ports that you access by filling with these two external fill ports, and also the whole bottom of the incubator is one large port. So when you go into lockdown, this is where you're going to pour your 1 cup of water, and then you can adjust your humidity higher or lower by using these two forward ports. So that's pretty impressive. But what we did, or what I did, was I set up the incubator when I first got it, and I ran it for about 24 hours, maybe 36 hours. First thing I wanted to do was I wanted to bring everything up to temperature. All the components, the plastic housing, the egg turner, the grates inside. I wanted everything up to my desired temperature, which was 99.5 degrees. And then I wanted to run some tests by placing some calibrated meat thermometers in various spots around the incubator to test for warm and cold spots. I can't tell you, I was pretty impressed that I did not find warm or cold spots. I don't think the temperature variation was much more than 1/4 of a degree, maybe 1/2 a degree at most. Let's talk a little bit about setting up the incubator. On the front of the incubator is your control panel, which has 2 knobs on it, or 2 buttons on it, and that is to adjust the temperature up and down. Borotto recommends that during incubation you set the temperature to 99.7 degrees, and then when you go into lockdown that you drop it down to 99.2 degrees. And at that time, which is when you would raise your humidity and add some more water to the incubator. I set the incubation temperatures at 99.5 degrees, and I left it at that setting through the entire incubation and lockdown process, and I got a pretty decent hatch out of it. The temperatures, like I said earlier, are modifiable. You can go from 86 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or 30 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius max. I set a total of 42 eggs that were shipped to me, and on day 14 I candled the eggs before I went into lockdown, and 10 of them showed no sign of development. So I had a total of 32 eggs that went into lockdown. The eggs started pipping right around day 16 and a half, 17, and the bulk of them hatched out on day 18. I did have a couple stragglers that went to day 19, but I had a total of 29 chicks hatch out of those 32 eggs. So I was very impressed with that. That's an excellent hatch rate for shipped eggs. Okay, so I want to touch briefly on humidity and the Sirio Humidity Pump. Borotto recommends that when you put your eggs into lockdown that you add a cup of water to the bottom of the incubator, and then let the humidity pump fine-tune your humidity settings by using those 2 forward reservoirs. What happens is when you add that cup of water, you've got a larger surface area of water, thus raising your humidity levels up considerably, but you still have those 2 empty forward ports that the pump can use to help raise or lower your humidity. I do what's known as a dry hatch, so I don't add any water during the first 14 days of incubation, but then I'll usually add about a cup of water to the incubator during lockdown, and that seems to get me in the zone that I need. So I really don't need the humidity pump. I can monitor and adjust my own humidity levels just using the fill ports on the front side of the incubator. Okay, to set up the Sirio humidity pump, basically all you need to do is take these 2 supply lines, and they will plug right into these forward ports. You just remove this cover, little dust cover, and install this into those ports. And the only other thing you need to hook up will be the humidity sensor probe, and that goes in the back corner of the incubator. You do not want to hook it up to the front. You want to hook it up on the back If you hook it up on the front, it's too close to these water ports. You're going to get a false reading. So you want it set up in the back, and that will give you a more accurate reading as far as the humidity is concerned. Okay, and set your humidity levels using the plus and minus buttons on the front of the Sirio Humidity Pump, and then run your main feed line to a water reservoir like a jar or a soda bottle with water in it. Another thing that Borotto suggested, I was reading in the manual, was that you rotate your eggs from center, from the inside to the outside rows of your egg turners. After doing my test with the thermometers and finding that there's very little temperature gradients differences in the incubator, I don't find that necessary, at least not for quail eggs. It might be necessary, you know, for like duck eggs or goose eggs, but I don't think it's needed or really recommended to do for quail eggs. When I set my eggs, I had pretty even temperatures throughout, and I had a pretty uniform hatch. I did have a couple stragglers, but they were shipped eggs, and that is, you know, can be expected on shipped eggs. But for the most part, it was a uniform hatch. They all hatched out, you know, mostly on day 18, so I was pretty happy with that. Okay guys, so I just want to say that I am pretty impressed with this Borotto incubator. I got a really good hatch out of it for the first time around. I will be doing some future videos on this thing, you know, like 6 months later or a year down the road, just to let you know how this thing's been performing for me and if I've run into any issues. But I think this is a professional grade desktop incubator geared towards the serious breeder. I think it is a major step above entry-level incubators like the Nurture-Right 360s or the little giant styrofoam type incubators. It would be money well spent, especially with the egg turner itself. You're going to save yourself so much money not having to buy those extra rails for your egg turners, and also keeping that motor outside of the incubator. That's a big plus. The circuitry inside the digital control unit, I looked at it. It uses higher end components like black capacitors. For those of you who don't know what black capacitors are, they are a higher grade capacitor which can handle extreme heat. It can also handle power surges and stuff like that. They use them on higher end motherboards or gaming motherboards, whatnot. So another thing I really like is the accuracy of this unit. Borotto says that it is accurate within 0.01%, which is pretty darn accurate. Like I say, I tested the temperature in different areas on the incubator. I found no warm or cold spots. The way the circulation fan draws the air up and then pushes it back down around the sides, it's just like a constant flow. So I really don't see how you could have any warm or cold spots. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I would highly recommend this incubator if you're thinking about buying a newer incubator or a desktop style incubator. I think this will fill your needs. I am going to, like I said earlier, be re-reviewing this a year down the road just to see how it holds up. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for sticking around. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Helps me out. You can get notified of any new and upcoming videos if you hit that notification bell. So thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.